Hello.
I'm Megan,
I'm Matt.
and you're watching
The Night Owl.
All right, let me make sure that everything sounds good.
And we hear us.
And you can hear us. Let's make sure that the sound is on because, after that debacle, I just don't want to take it. Okay, we're good. We're good. All right. So, hello, everybody.
Hello.
It's Friday.
Friday.
Hopefully, you have your drinks close. We are
Nearby.
drinking. Get your drink.
Right, it's September 10th.
Yeah, we're drinking Truly. I suggested to try and just do the seltzers one last time before next week. I think we have another week and a half before summer's officially over. And let's cheers to summer being almost over.
The summer wind coming to an end.
So you got like a different plethora of flavors. This one's citrus punch. I kind of like that one. I remember when White Claw came out, Truly kind of came out after that, and then was it bubbly or something?
It's been an onslaught of these various types
Companies.
of kind of citrusy alcoholic carbonated beverages.
Now let me make sure that our focus is good. All right, good. Focus is good. All right, guys. So for today, we have some topics that are a little more political and, have to do with what's going on in the world today. I know that we try to cover everything. And I know the last time we live streamed, we talked about R. Kelly and Aaliyah. And I'd like to say that we are trending with that topic because not only did I see that topic being talked about in other news outlets like the day or a couple days after, but also I think there were a couple of people that talked about it just a few hours before we did. So we like to be able to be trending with other YouTubers and other news stations. It's kind of fun. Like we talk about a topic and then we'll see it in the news and we're like, oh, like we're on time.
We're right on time. I see it all the time as kind of one of my go-to pages when I just on the old work computer there, it pops up and scrolling through a yahoo.com or something like that is the base page. And next thing you know, you'll see a couple stories. It's like, oh, we've already talked about that. And
yeah.
Old Kelly was one of those.
Yeah. So that's kind of, it's sad that it's that topic, but at least we're staying up with the times. Not only that, we like to talk about old topics as well, old facts, fun things.
Like we say, what are we?
I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And this is the Night Owl Chicago, where we talk about music, art, and life, and everything in between. Matthew likes to make sure, because we do talk about everything in between. Oh my, you can't make this up. He's a one trick. He's a multiple trick pony, okay? He knows different things. Yes. So did you have anything you want to talk about first?
I don't know about political spectrum, but I did mention that I saw a couple of interesting stories on top of some things. So, maybe one I thought would be more of an update because I remember back when we kind of first started this thing, one of the things that we did was kind of a what you watching. And at the time, one of those things that we really kind of got interested in was trending very heavily on Netflix. And that was the documentary on Tiger King. And here we are now, multiple years later, here we are where the gentleman Tiger King himself, right, he has had failed attempts at being pardoned, although his sentence is being reduced. But why I kind of bring that up is I see kind of one of the people that was in that documentary here has recently passed away, and that was that Eric Howie, and he kind of was highlighted in this documentary, right? He believed, he was kind of one of the managers of the zoo. And, he had a lot of remorse and I think empathy looking back on the fact that he realized what kind of Joe Exotic was doing as far as killing those animals.
Mm-hmm.
And since that documentary had released, he pretty much just kind of packed his bags up and went to go be a chef in New York City. Unfortunately, he passed away here at 52, but that just kind of, they've been a couple of them in the news here. So if you remember kind of the Lows that were part of it, they were Joe Exotic's partner there, right? Kind of Jeff and Lauren Lowe. Mm-hmm. They were kind of the weird kind of, swinger type couple. And since then, their facility in Oklahoma has been shut down. So the feds kind of came in and did a massive sweep, removing all the cats. They look like they're in trouble. They've also had a few run-ins with the law, you might say, right? They've had a few DUI arrests together, the both of them. So
Wednesday doesn't take too kindly to that.
Not looking so good for, the members of that, what they kind of featured on, that documentary here recently. But it's just kind of an update with that.
Do you think that's going to be like the end of an era for that kind of thing? Because I'm sure they weren't the only people doing that.
I'll be honest, prior to seeing that documentary, I did not realize that there were these kind of mom and pop zoos featuring these exotic animals and kind of what that trade was. I mean, I knew some stories, like it's amazing, like the state of Ohio have had quite a few of these stories of pet owners owning these exotic animals and things kind of going awry. But I really wasn't aware that there was this many and what was going on in Oklahoma. I have since in my lifetime here, as I kind of approach 44, I'm not a fan of zoos.
Yeah, in general. They're like prisons. I mean, I understand the conservation groups that like have the land for them to be the sanctuaries, but they were trying to like they were kind of like fronting as a sanctuary, but really what they were doing was just selling them and like
they were just selling them, right? That's really what was there.
Even if you want to own them, take care of them. Like they were finding out that he was like shooting the ones that were weak, or they weren't all getting fed the same time, like, and they were like agitated, depressed, had anxiety, like they were treated like shit. This person had
recently passed away, right? One of the stories that he had presented in the documentary, right, was allegedly when he was working with Joe Exotic, right? They had so many cages, they had too many cats, and Joe Exotic pretty much came up with the solution far as figuring out how to get the cats in the cage when you have too many cats.
Yeah.
And if they got along. It was just allegedly that he basically went and eliminated a number of those cats so that he could fit the rest of them in the cages.
Did you hear about the guy that would like fly them out to Vegas and like bring the like lions or tigers to like parties?
That was the Jeffrey and Lauren.
Okay,
Lowe.
that was another billionaire, right? Was he a billionaire?
No, another millionaire, and again, he was a Joe Exotic kind of partner. He was pretty much, kind of one of those outlaw extreme, and he's a sleazeball, right?
That's what I just said. Like he would let them party with women pose with them, and
they just shut down his. So that's what I had there, and then I only had one other thing.
We'll save that one. We can save that one. Yeah, because then we can go back and forth.
Okay. Right.
Okay, so my other topic is we want to do good and bad. We want to do light and dark because mine are a little dark. So I'm going to start out with this article that's from the New York Times. And I know I've used the New York Times a few times before. So it's the it's actually about a small town that silenced this neo-Nazi campaign. And I think this came out a little while ago. This was back in September. So September of this year. So not too long ago. So this is about Richard Spencer, the most infamous summer resident in the town of Whitefish, Montana. Now, you and I were in Montana for the New Year's. Were we ever near that area?
No, Whitefish would be at the more western end of the state, so closer towards the mountains, closer towards the state capital.
So we were more by the hill. It was like rural area.
We were more in the flatlands of Montana towards North Dakota.
To me, it didn't look that flat. It was like there were some big-ass hills up in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not the foothills.
Yeah.
The foothills.
The foothills. It says once boasted that he stood on the vanguard of a white national movement, emboldened. Oops, what happened? Emboldened by. Wait, hold on. Sorry, guys. Emboldened by President Donald Trump. Oh God, I said his name. I was supposed to say Chino Man. Things have changed. I have bumped into him, and he runs. That's exactly a really good feeling. That's actually a really good feeling, said Tanya Gersh, a real estate agent targeted in an anti-Semitic hate campaign that Andrew England, founder of the neo-Nazi website Daily Stormer, I've heard of Daily Stormer, unleashed in 2016 after Spencer's mother made online accusations against Gersh. So the Daily Stormer is a website that like neo-Nazis go on and like talk shit and stuff. There's a couple other ones that like even Cheeto Man was on. And Andrew England was also present during the Capitol riots as well. He was, if not the one that helped plan it, he was definitely there. He was there. Leaders in Whitefish say that Spencer, who once ran his National Policy Institute from his mother's $3 million summer house in Whitefish, is now an outcast in this resort town in the Rocky Mountains, unable to get a table at many of its restaurants. Oh no. Well, I mean, you're a neo-Nazi, bro. Like, meanwhile, his wife has divorced him, and he's facing a trial next month in Charlottesville.
You know, that doesn't surprise me about, honestly, the state of Montana. You may think it as just, right, the big sky, a big, as far as territory with the state with a large amount of real estate there and not a lot of people. And you may think way up there, what would they
like, why
care
would they
about?
care? Yeah. But you can't judge people just by
I
an area that
remember
they live in.
a story about when they were having a mayoral race in Helena there, the state capital, and they kind of basically decided that, one, they were just going to vote for the best person. So it didn't matter if you were Republican or Democrat. They basically said it's not a party system. We're just voting for the best person. And they voted for a black man.
I'm just saying, you can't judge people based on where they live. I mean, sometimes people say it's the environment, but like, if you have your own sense of morality and clarity, you can make your own decisions.
Well, like I said, I don't think it's a surprise that, right, there are people that are standing up and saying, you know, I do not want this. I don't want this energy. I don't want these thoughts. I don't want this idea.
It says that he's facing. Oh my gosh, Bean, that was crazy. She just jumped from one couch to the other. It says he's facing trial in October over his role in the deadly 2017 neo-Nazi march, but said he cannot afford a lawyer. So what was this march about? Do you remember the march?
Do you not remember in Charlottesville, Virginia here, this was kind of a march about, as you know, we kind of were having this awakening as...
Was that the first year that Trump was president?
No, this was 2017, I believe, right?
Year.
So second year in, and they were removing, you know, kind of Confederate statues, removing symbols of hate, and you ended up having this big riot there, right? So you had all these kind of white nationalists show
and you
up,
were saying, who cares about the statues in general?
That's when they had their pitchforks.
Yeah.
That's also when
it was
you
like
had
the
one supremacist who drove his vehicle
over someone,
and they lost their life there. And this is also at that time in year 2 of the presidency when he said, you know, there were very good or nice people on both sides here. He basically refused to denounce the idea of white nationalism and white supremacy.
I mean, he just didn't want to be hated against.
I guess he just didn't want to be hated or tick off his fan base.
But you can't be in the middle. You have to choose where you're gonna be neutral in some things. This is not. You have to pick a side. You can't be neutral with.
It was it was a very eye-opening, I think, experience for the country. I mean, it was one of those instances, right, where, you know, employers were actually like looking at Facebook and looking at media pictures and identifying people, and people were losing their jobs. Well, they were marching and acting. It was like, well,
that's what they're doing with the Capitol. I mean, people are losing their jobs. They can't fly.
They can't fly.
You know, so because of that march,
they continue to basically prosecute these people. Some of them very scary, right? The incidents here, they are closing in on the people that have, you know, planted those pipe bombs that were near there. I mean,
and you know what? It's really funny. It's interesting because 2017, I remember that was when I thought everything was going to become martial law, where there were just going to be like military or non-military, like police, like just everywhere, just like watching you, watching to see if something happens.
To me, that was the year that he clearly meant, I am a racist president.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that was
We
definitely.
knew it going in.
I mean, we already knew going in.
And
but
then,
that was definitely
and
his.
then Matthew and I, poor Matthew, and I thought he was just dumb, and then we're like, no, he knows what
he
he's
knows
doing.
what he's doing, and yeah, it's clearly when he understands who his constituency is.
And then some of those mosques were getting blown up, or getting,
and at the same time, you had mosque.
That was in the same year, I think.
You had the anti-Semitic.
And then 2018, Make America Great Again. That's when that happened. Or was that right when he was president?
That was his slogan for presidency.
Well, that was, yeah. So it says the turn of events is no accident. Whitefish, a mostly liberal, affluent community nestled in a country that voted for Trump in 2016 and in 2020, rose up and struck back. Residents who joined with staff officials, human rights groups, and synagogues said their bipartisan counteroffensive could hold lessons for others in an era of disinformation and intimidation. I mean, the era of disinformation is leaving now. That train is going because the fake news shit, the spreading stuff about, scientists and doctors that they have these terrible ulterior motives, like that they're lying to you. And then also after Trump lost his presidency, people learning that they were lied to, that they couldn't trust Trump, that the wool was finally being pulled off of their eyes. And they were like, oh shit, I've been lied to by this man. And I believed in him. I had his flag. I had banners on my car. I believed in him. I thought he was part of a conspiracy that I'm a part of. Like, I thought he was our leader. And it's like, he's a human. He's a human. Every human has flaws. Biden has flaws too. They all do. You can't glorify or worship a president. We have the separation of church and state for a reason, because we have our religion, we have our state, we have our rules, our laws, and then we have humans, and humans make mistakes, whether they're good or bad. Some of them you can't come back from, but I've learned now that I have to change the way that I see people. And I used to think people don't change. Assholes will be assholes. People will just be like that. But you have to also educate people and realize that they can change, because they're getting their information from the wrong people. They're joining groups and clubs for the wrong reasons. It's like joining a cult or an MLM or something like that, where people get them at the wrong time, when they're vulnerable, when they're sad, when they're angry. And then what happens? The Capitol riots, right? That's what happens. And then they think that that's their right to do that, but it's not. What they did was a crime.
It probably gets perpetuated, just like what you said, when people stop believing that people can change.
Yep.
And then you truly start looking at them. It's us against them.
And you know what? We don't need to do that
when
anymore.
There's no such thing.
That's old way of thinking.
Yeah.
When man first was walking upright, it was we need to survive. We need to get together. We need to survive. Then when they met another group, they said it's us against you. Then they realized, oh, there's things that could kill us. There's animals that could kill us. The weather can kill us. Let's all join together. And so we're kind of going back into that us versus you again. So it says that residents who joined with state officials, human rights groups, and synagogues said so it says that the best way to respond to hate and cyber terrorism in your country is through solidarity, like what I said Rabbi Francine Green Roaston of the Glacier Jewish community, B'nai Shalom, who now lectures other groups on how to ward off hate campaigns like the one Whitefish endured. Another big principle is to take threats seriously and prepare for the worst. Mayor John Mulford agreed. You have to act swiftly and decisively and come together as a community to tackle hate and make sure it doesn't infiltrate your town, he said. On Saturday, Spencer said that he kept a very low profile in Whitefish, and though he had been denied service in local establishments in the past, quote, I don't have any anxiety dealing with anyone, end quote. He said he does not run from Gersh and understood why people would be angry with him. I don't want any battles with them here in Whitefish, and I hope they take a similar attitude, and it's best to move on. His mother, Sherry Spencer, did not respond to requests for comment. It says advice and accusation. The trouble in Whitefish started after Trump's victory in the 2016 election that November. Spencer, who had called his white nationalist movement to Vanguard for Trump, delivered a racially charged speech in his institute's conference in Washington. His words greeted by Nazi salutes. Video of the address went viral, and I remember seeing that all over the internet. In Whitefish, residents discussed protesting in front of a downtown commercial building owned by Spencer's mother. Gersh said Sherry Spencer called her. She flat out asked me, Tanya, I don't believe in my son's ideology. I'm heartbroken that this is hurting Whitefish. What should I do? Gersh recalled over coffee in her office. I said, Sherry, if this were my son, I would go ahead and sell the building. I would donate some money to something like Human Rights Network to make a statement and publish that you don't believe in the ideologies of your son. She said, thank you, Tanya. That's exactly what I should do. Gersh said that she arranged to sell the property without making any profit. But a short time later, she said Sherry Spencer sent an email saying that she had changed her mind about working with Gersh, who then supplied names of other real estate agents. So that means that she went to her son and said, hey, Gersh told me I should sell the building. I don't believe in what your ideologies. And he probably threatened her or said something, or I don't know, was a man baby or something. And then immediately she got scared. And
well, I mean, he is a trust. I mean, he is living off his parents' or his mother's money. I mean, he probably has done nothing in his life.
How could you do that and use your mother like that? Especially when she does not represent the same thing. I would never do it to my mom. If I wanted to do something to spread a word, whether it's good or bad or harmful, I'm not going to use someone else's property that doesn't believe the same things I do. At least keep it in the family. At least keep it in the family of white nationalists, or whatever it is that you want. Make sure that everyone's on the same page, because you put his mom in a weird situation. So it says 2 weeks later, in December 2016, Sherry Spencer posted an article on the open publishing platform Medium, accusing Gersh of using the threat of protest to blackmail her into selling. And his Richard Spencer said that he and his former wife had written the article published under his mother's name. He repeated that their claims against Gersh, adding that she called his mother not the other way around. So they're saying that Gersh called his mother instead of her calling Gersh to say, like, hey, I think you should sell the building.
Yeah.
So that's where the misinformation came from, and the gaslighting, I would say, from him. The Spencer's accusations quickly reverberated among the far right. Anglin of the Daily Stormer exhorted his fam online to take action to defend Sherry Spencer. He shared personal information and the social media accounts of Gersh. So basically, he doxed her and her family, including her son, then 12. He was 12 years old. A post in which Anglin encouraged the followers to stop by and tell her in person what you think of her actions. If that isn't a threat, I don't know what is. I've said this before. If you are someone that has you are someone in a authoritative platform, or a YouTuber or a celebrity, your fans are not going to always do exactly what you want them to do. You could tell them something and they could think it's something else. So that's very dangerous. Was the first of some 30 articles he published targeting Gersh family and the Jewish community in Whitefish, according to a lawsuit Gersh filed in 2017 against Anglin in the district court in Montana. Gersh received hundreds of text messages, emails, and Christmas cards threatening her. Christmas cards.
Jeez.
Here's my lovely children. Fuck you, or something. Her voicemail filled up several times a day. Hateful comments about Gersh appeared on real estate websites. Homeowners were afraid to list with her. So basically, you ruined her life. The campaign swept in Roston, another area rabbi and his wife, and any Whitefish residents and business owners the trolls believed were Jewish. At one point, Roston realized one of the anonymous antagonists was the father of her son's best friend. Her family did not confront the man, who has since moved away. He had a lot of guns, she said. Anglin next announced that at a march on Whitefish planned for Martin Luther King Jr. Day in 2017, an ad for the event depicted the gates of Auschwitz death camp with photos of Gersh, her son, Roston, and the other rabbi's wife superimposed. So let's think about that one. Let's think about that. it's one thing when you put Bernie in different locations sitting with his little mittens. It's another thing when you superimpose a Jewish person in the gates of Auschwitz, a death camp.
Yeah, you're pretty sick
That's
individual.
fucked up.
You are a fucked up individual.
And the fact that you can, you know, it's just
You're disgusting.
Yeah, I have no word. I mean, I literally have no words. I'll put the rest of the article in the comments, but it's a really long article, so I won't read all of it. But I think it really does say that she's in a better place now. I mean, there's been some time that's gone by, but it feels like now, looking back, kind of going back to that time, 2016 to 17, it feels so long ago. Like, it feels so long ago. And it also feels like the end of Trump, the end of, that kind of disinformation and hatred. I'm not saying that it's going away, but it feels like we're in a little bit of a different place now. I think more people are focusing back on COVID. It's going to be fall soon. Pretty soon it'll be winter, because winter's coming. And we're going to be focusing on staying healthy and staying with our friends, getting a job, because I know that I've been seeing help wanted signs everywhere again. So I think that we're moving in the right direction. I learned that Los Angeles is now doing vaccinations for 12-year-old and up. So all the high school kids are getting vaccinated. And I know my mom, I don't know if your parents have gotten their booster, but my mom and my aunts have gotten their booster. I think they're doing it in the same order that they did the vaccine. So people with underlying medical history or issues. And you know what? Get your vaccine, because you don't want to pay $40,000 for a hospital stay. That's how much an average price of a hospital stay is. So if you have the money, great, do it.
The shots are free. The hospital stays are not.
Free. The hospital stays are not. The medicine you have to buy to stay alive is not. The ambulance ride to the hospital is not free. It's just not. And then we have to pay for those hospitals. And then you're also taking the place for someone who genuinely needs to go to the hospital. Maybe they got shot. Maybe they have a heart attack. Maybe they're sick. But of other things, maybe, so I think it's just, you're preventing other issues, and you're preventing other people from being able to go to the hospital and get better. And then my next article, it's kind of more of a quote. So this is regarding, I talked to Matthew about this yesterday. Speaking of Donald Trump and his administration, they're trying to clean house right now with certain people like Spicer and Kellyanne Conway, and people like that. They're trying to kind of shush them out, trying to flush them out.
Well, no, there were 11 members from
from
the former administration that are still on the payroll.
11, yeah. I thought there were
still
9,
hold some position. Apparently, they held some position within this administration, and I think maybe once people found out that, we have these holdovers and who they are, they were immediately kind of removed or asked to discontinue service, or however you want to put it. You are fired. They were gone. And 2 of those 11, right, which I was awfully shocked to hear when you told me. I did not realize that, right, Spicer was still one of them and Kellyanne Conway was still one of them.
Yeah,
I could not believe that.
So this is a quote from Jen
Psaki.
I always get her name wrong. She's the White House press secretary, if you didn't know. She said, "I will let others evaluate whether they think Kellyanne Conway and Sean Spicer and others were qualified or not political to serve on these boards. But the president's qualifications requirements are not your party registration. They are whether you're qualified to serve or you're aligned with the values of this administration." And as we can see, Biden has been very freaking busy with COVID related things. He has been he is pushing the envelope right now. He is trying to create new ways to combat this virus. He's getting the boosters out. He's getting the kids vaccinated. He wants to stop this thing. He doesn't want it to keep going. And like what me and Matt have brainstormed and talked about, we don't know how long it'll be here. It's definitely a new virus like the flu. right? So it'll be here forever. But now we would just want to realize that, the more we get vaccinated, the better we'll be. Because it's one thing if we were living in a country where there's no cure. We haven't found a vaccine yet. But now we have one. It's right there for you at CVS, at Walgreens, at hospitals. Some colleges are doing it. I mean, you can almost walk in anywhere and there's a nurse ready with the vaccine for you. So I don't think that a lot of these members represent the Biden administration, whether they're Republican or Democrat. I don't know. Does that matter? Do they have to be Democrat?
Like what the press secretary said, it really did not
matter about your party.
They just were not qualified.
It's just about the values.
They were deemed they were not qualified for those positions.
Yeah, and they just weren't matching up with the values.
Based on their training, experience, history, combination thereof.
So it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, they just
okay.
They
I always thought it had to be the same. They
no,
be the same party.
No, they absolutely for the positions that they were probably the boards that they were sitting on. It was more about qualifications and not about party alignment, and that's kind of what she stated there.
Was Kellyanne Conway was she in the military?
No.
What is she?
No, she was one of those political analysts. She was on the Trump team. She was responsible for kind of helping, part of the campaign, and then she stayed on.
Mm-hmm.
Very infamously here, she's got her husband who is a Democrat
and her kid who
hates her. And then it looked like kind of for exploitation, right? She was on American Idol or one of those her kids were, and then they had her kind of chime in. And
I think one of her kids is a TikTok person.
Yeah, it was just all gross.
But I remember a few years back, I don't know if it was during the quarantine or before that her daughter had recorded her screaming at her and degrading her. And it's just if this is how you are to your children, it's one thing to be like that towards other humans or adults. Not to say that that's a good thing, but you shouldn't be like that towards your children. If you have to
continuously perpetuate lies for as long as some of those people did, how can? I can only imagine what that would do to somebody. So
it breaks someone down, and I think you either start believing the lies or you just you freak out, you snap, and I think that. I hope that they pack up and leave. I would like to see who they replace.
Well, like I told you when you told me, right? There's Fox News has a place for them, so yeah, they're ready. Whatever.
Yeah, Fox News you got some new people. Yeah. So I wanted to tell you guys that we will have a new audio recording. I'm actually going to edit it tonight, so expect to hear it tomorrow on our Anchor podcast. You can also find us on Spotify. On Apple Podcasts.
Anywhere where you listen to your favorite podcast.
Anywhere, literally. Type us in, The Night Owl Chicago, Music, Art, and Life. It helps if you type that in as well. We definitely are going to keep doing these Facebook Lives. We love them. I love Melon. It's really helping with our quality and our streaming. We can actually stream to Facebook and YouTube. So some of our streamed videos I will not be editing and putting on YouTube, but we will still have our content. And I suggest for you guys to subscribe. We have about 400 subscribers now.
Get those likes, get those subscribes.
Yeah, get those likes. Be sure to like us. You are our nestlings. We love you. And we want to tell you to be safe and be happy and wear a goddamn mask. I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And you're watching The Night Owl.